Have you ever felt like there's more to life than what you can see and touch? Well, you're right. There's a powerful tool that can open up a whole new world for you. It's called intuitive thinking, and it's the key to unlocking your spiritual growth. Now, this might sound like something only special people can do, but that's not true at all. Everyone has this ability. It's just that most of us have forgotten how to use it. Imagine having a superpower that could guide you through life's toughest choices, help you understand yourself better, and even connect you to something greater than yourself. That's what intuitive thinking can do for you. It's like having a wise friend inside your head, always ready to give you the best advice. And the best part? You don't need any fancy equipment or years of study to tap into this power. It's already there, waiting for you to use it. But here's the thing, if we don't learn how to use our intuition, we're missing out on so much. It's like having a treasure map, but never bothering to look for the treasure. Many people go through life feeling lost or stuck because they only use their logical mind to make decisions. They ignore that quiet voice inside that sometimes knows better than their brain does. Think about it. How many times have you had a gut feeling about something, ignored it, and then later wished you'd listened? That's your intuition trying to guide you. When we don't pay attention to these inner nudges, we can end up making choices that don't feel right or missing out on amazing opportunities. It's like walking through life with blinders on, only seeing a small part of what's really there. Now you might be thinking, so what? Why does it matter if I use my intuition or not? Well, let me tell you, the stakes are higher than you might think. In today's world, we're bombarded with information and choices all the time. It's easy to get overwhelmed and lose touch with what really matters to us. That's where intuitive thinking comes in. It helps us cut through all the noise and get to the heart of things. When we ignore our intuition, we're basically ignoring a part of ourselves. It's like having a supercomputer, but only using it to play simple games. You're not tapping into its full potential. And in the realm of spirituality, this is even more important. Intuition is often described as our connection to the divine, to the universe, or to our higher selves. By not using it, we're cutting ourselves off from a source of wisdom and guidance that could make our lives richer and more meaningful. But it's not just about missing out on good things. Ignoring your intuition can actually lead you down paths that aren't right for you. How many people do you know who are stuck in jobs they hate or relationships that don't fulfill them? Often these situations happen because people ignore their inner voice telling them something isn't right. They listen to what others say they should do instead of what feels true to them. And here's something else to consider. In our fast-paced, technology-driven world, we're losing touch with our inner selves. We're always looking outside for answers, whether it's Google or social media or the latest self-help book. But what if the answers we're looking for are already inside us? What if we're just not listening closely enough? That's the real danger of not developing our intuitive thinking. We become disconnected from ourselves and from the world around us. We start to feel like we're just going through the motions, living on autopilot. And that's no way to live a fulfilling life, especially if you're interested in spiritual growth. So now that we understand why intuitive thinking is so important, let's break down what it actually is. In simple terms, intuitive thinking is like listening to your heart or your gut feeling. It's that part of you that knows things without needing to think hard about them. You know how sometimes you just know something is right or wrong, even if you can't explain why? That's your intuition at work. Intuitive thinking is different from logical thinking, which is what we usually use in our day-to-day lives. Logical thinking is like solving a math problem. You have all the pieces of information, and you put them together step by step to get an answer. It's great for many things like figuring out your budget or planning a trip, but it has its limits, especially when it comes to the big questions in life. Intuitive thinking, on the other hand, is more like recognizing a friend's face in a crowd. You don't need to analyze every feature of their face to know it's them. You just know. It's immediate and often feels more like a feeling than a thought. This kind of thinking can help us understand complex situations quickly, make decisions when we don't have all the information, and connect with others on a deeper level. Now you might be wondering where this intuition comes from. Some people believe it's connected to our subconscious mind, which processes way more information than our conscious mind can handle. Others see it as a spiritual gift, a way of tapping into a higher wisdom. Whatever its source, intuition is something we all have, even if we're not always aware of it. Think about a time when you had a strong feeling about something that turned out to be right. Maybe you had a hunch about a job opportunity, or you felt uneasy about a situation that later turned out to be problematic. That was your intuition speaking to you. It's like having a wise advisor inside your head, one that sees things from a broader perspective than your everyday thinking. But here's the important thing to remember. Intuitive thinking isn't about ignoring facts or logic. It's about balancing them with your inner wisdom. The best decisions often come when we use both our logical mind and our intuition together. It's like having two powerful tools and using them both to build something amazing. Intuitive thinking can show up in different ways for different people. Some people might see images in their mind, while others might get a physical sensation like goosebumps or a feeling in their stomach. Some people hear words or phrases pop into their head. There's no one right way to experience intuition. What matters is learning to recognize and trust these signals when they come. One of the great things about intuitive thinking is that it can help us in all areas of life, not just spiritual matters. It can guide us in our relationships, helping us understand others better and communicate more effectively. It can assist us in our careers, showing us opportunities we might have missed otherwise. And it can even improve our health by helping us tune in to what our bodies really need. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of intuitive thinking is how it can deepen our spiritual lives. When we tap into our intuition, we're connecting with something bigger than ourselves. It's like opening a door to a whole new way of experiencing the world. We start to see the connections between things, the patterns in our lives, and the deeper meaning behind events. This kind of thinking can lead to profound insights and personal growth. It can help us understand our true purpose in life, guide us through difficult decisions, and bring us a sense of peace and clarity. Many spiritual traditions talk about the importance of inner wisdom or direct knowledge. Intuitive thinking is a way of accessing that wisdom in our everyday lives. Now that we understand what intuitive thinking is, let's explore why it's so important for our spiritual journey. You see, your intuition is like a bridge to your spiritual self. It's the part of you that can reach beyond the physical world and touch something deeper, something more meaningful. When we talk about spirituality, we're often talking about connecting with something greater than ourselves. It might be God, the universe, or simply a higher level of consciousness. Whatever you believe in, intuitive thinking can help you get there. It's like having a direct line to the spiritual realm. Think about it this way. Our logical mind is great for dealing with the everyday world. It helps us solve problems, make plans, and understand how things work. But when it comes to spiritual matters, logic can only take us so far. That's because spiritual truths often go beyond what we can see or measure. They're about feelings, connections, and experiences that can't always be put into words. This is where intuitive thinking comes in. It allows us to understand things that go beyond what we can see or touch. When you use your intuition, you might suddenly grasp a spiritual concept that you've been struggling with. Or you might feel a deep connection to nature or other people that you can't explain logically. These are the kinds of experiences that can really deepen your spiritual life. Intuitive thinking can also help you find your own spiritual path. There are so many different beliefs and practices out there, and it can be overwhelming to figure out what's right for you. But when you learn to listen to your intuition, you'll start to feel drawn towards the ideas and practices that resonate with your true self. It's like having an internal compass guiding you towards your spiritual home. Moreover, intuitive thinking can help you in your spiritual practice. Whether you meditate, pray, or have other spiritual rituals, tapping into your intuition can make these practices more powerful. You might receive insights during meditation or feel a stronger connection during prayer. Your intuition can guide you to the right words, the right thoughts, or even the right silence. But perhaps most importantly, developing your intuitive thinking can help you feel more connected to everything around you. Many spiritual traditions talk about the interconnectedness of all things. When you start to trust your intuition, you might begin to sense these connections more strongly. You might feel a deeper bond with nature, with other people, or with the universe as a whole. This sense of connection is at the heart of many spiritual experiences. Now that we understand why intuitive thinking is so important for our spiritual growth, you might be wondering, how do I actually start developing this skill? Don't worry, it's not as hard as you might think. In fact, you've probably been using your intuition all along without even realizing it. The key is to start paying more attention to it and trusting it more. The first step in developing your intuitive thinking is to quiet your mind. Our everyday thoughts can be like a noisy crowd, drowning out the quieter voice of our intuition. That's why many spiritual practices start with some form of quieting the mind, like meditation or prayer. But you don't need to be a meditation expert to do this. Even just taking a few deep breaths and focusing on the present moment can help. Try this simple exercise. Find a comfortable place to sit where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. As you breathe, imagine all your thoughts and worries floating away like clouds in the sky. Don't try to force them away, just let them pass. After a few minutes of this, you might notice a sense of calm coming over you. This calm state is where it's easier to hear your inner voice. Once you've quieted your mind, the next step is to start paying attention to your intuitive signals. These can come in many forms. You might get a sudden feeling about something, or an idea might pop into your head out of nowhere. Sometimes you might even experience physical sensations like a tightness in your chest or a flutter in your stomach. These are all ways your intuition might be trying to communicate with you. It's important to remember that intuition often speaks in whispers, not shouts. At first, you might only get subtle hints or gentle nudges. That's okay. The more you pay attention to these small signals, the clearer they'll become over time. It's like tuning a radio. At first, you might only hear static, but as you adjust the dial, the signal becomes clearer. Another great way to develop your intuitive thinking is to start asking yourself questions and then paying attention to your immediate gut response. For example, you might ask yourself, what do I really want in life? Or what's the right decision in this situation? Don't try to analyze or think through the answer. Just notice what comes to you right away. This immediate response is often your intuition speaking. It's also helpful to start trusting your intuition in small ways. When you get a hunch about something, act on it, as long as it's safe to do so, of course. Maybe you feel drawn to take a different route to work one day, or to call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Following these small intuitive nudges can help you build trust in your inner guidance. Keeping a journal can be another powerful tool for developing your intuitive thinking. Write down your intuitive feelings and hunches, and then later go back and see how things turned out. You might be surprised at how often your intuition was right. This can help build your confidence in your intuitive abilities. Remember, developing your intuitive thinking is a process. It takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if you don't see dramatic results right away. Like any skill, it gets stronger the more you use it. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the journey of getting to know your inner wisdom. As you start to develop your intuitive thinking, you might wonder how to tell if you're really tapping into your intuition or just having regular thoughts. It's a common question, and the answer can be different for everyone. But there are some general signs that can help you recognize when your intuition is at work. One of the most common signs of intuition is a sudden, strong feeling about something. This feeling often comes out of nowhere and doesn't seem to have a logical explanation. For example, you might suddenly feel that you need to check on a friend only to find out later that they were going through a tough time and really needed support. Or you might get a strong feeling to avoid a certain situation, which later turns out to be problematic. These sudden, unexplained feelings are often your intuition trying to guide you. Another sign of intuition is when ideas or solutions pop into your head seemingly from nowhere. You know those aha moments when you suddenly understand something or figure out a solution to a problem you've been struggling with? That's often your intuition at work. Your subconscious mind has been working on the problem behind the scenes, and your intuition delivers the answer when you least expect it. Physical sensations can also be signs of intuition. Many people describe feeling a tightness in their chest, butterflies in their stomach, or a tingling sensation when their intuition is trying to tell them something. Some people even get goosebumps or feel a change in temperature. These physical reactions can be your body's way of translating intuitive information into something you can notice more easily. Sometimes intuition comes in the form of recurring thoughts or ideas. If you keep thinking about something or someone, even when there's no obvious reason to, it might be your intuition trying to get your attention. Maybe you keep thinking about a career change or a certain place you feel you need to visit. These persistent thoughts can be intuitive nudges guiding you towards something important. Intuition can also show up in your dreams. Have you ever had a dream that felt particularly vivid or meaningful? Or maybe you've dreamed about a situation that later happened in real life. These kinds of dreams can be your intuition communicating with you while your conscious mind is asleep and more open to receiving intuitive information. Another interesting sign of intuition is synchronicity. This is when meaningful coincidences happen in your life. For example, you might be thinking about a specific book, and then someone gives you that exact book as a gift. Or you might keep seeing the same number everywhere you go. These synchronicities can be signs that you're in tune with your intuition and the deeper patterns of the universe. Sometimes, intuition manifests as a deep sense of knowing, even when you can't explain why. You just know something is true or right, even if it doesn't make logical sense. This can be especially powerful in decision-making. You might be faced with a choice, and logically, both options seem equal, but intuitively, you just know which one is right for you. It's important to note that intuition often communicates in subtle ways. It's not usually a loud voice in your head telling you what to do. Instead, it's more like a quiet suggestion or a gentle pull in a certain direction. That's why it's so important to quiet your mind and pay attention to these subtle signals. As you become more attuned to your intuition, you might start to notice your own unique intuitive signals. Some people see colors or images in their mind's eye. Others might hear words or phrases. Some people even report smelling certain scents when their intuition is active. There's no one right way for intuition to manifest. What's important is learning to recognize and trust your own intuitive signals. Now that we've talked about how to recognize intuitive signals, let's dive into a practical exercise that can help strengthen your intuition. This exercise is simple, but powerful. It's something you can do every day to build your intuitive muscles. Here's how it works. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now, think of a question you need an answer to. It could be something simple like, what should I have for dinner tonight? Or something more complex like, what's the next step in my career? Once you have your question in mind, take a few more deep breaths and see what thoughts or feelings come to you. Don't try to force an answer or think too hard about it. Just relax and let whatever comes, come. You might get a mental image, a word or phrase, or just a feeling. Maybe you'll suddenly think of a certain food for dinner, or a particular job opportunity will pop into your mind. The key here is not to judge whatever comes up. Even if it seems silly or unrelated, pay attention to it. Your intuition often communicates in symbols or metaphors, so what seems unrelated at first might actually hold an important message. After you've received whatever intuitive message comes through, write it down. Keep a journal of these intuitive insights. Over time, you'll start to see patterns in how your intuition communicates with you. Remember, this exercise isn't about getting a right or wrong answer. It's about learning to quiet your mind and listen to your inner voice. The more you practice, the easier it will become to tap into your intuition in your daily life. Try doing this exercise once a day for a week. You might be surprised at how quickly you start to notice your intuition becoming clearer and stronger. As you start to develop your intuitive thinking, it's normal to have doubts. You might wonder if you're really receiving intuitive insights or just making things up. This doubt is a natural part of the process, but it's important not to let it hold you back. One common doubt is the fear of being wrong. What if you follow your intuition and it leads you astray? It's important to remember that intuition, like any skill, gets better with practice. In the beginning, you might not always interpret your intuitive signals correctly. That's okay. Each experience, whether it turns out the way you expected or not, is a chance to learn and refine your intuitive skills. Another doubt many people face is the belief that they're not intuitive enough. You might think that intuition is something only special people have, but the truth is, everyone has intuitive abilities. It's a natural part of being human. Some people might seem more naturally intuitive, but everyone can develop and strengthen their intuition with practice. To overcome these doubts, start small. Use your intuition for low-stakes decisions at first. Maybe you use it to decide what to wear or which route to take to work. As you see your intuition guiding you well in these small matters, you'll build confidence to trust it in bigger decisions. It's also helpful to keep track of your intuitive hits. When you have an intuitive feeling about something, write it down. Later, check back to see how things turned out. You might be surprised at how often your intuition was right, even if you doubted it at the time. Remember, developing your intuition is a journey. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the process of getting to know your inner wisdom. Once you've started developing your intuitive thinking, the next step is to integrate it into your daily life. This is where the real magic happens. When you start using your intuition regularly, you'll find that it can guide you in all sorts of situations. Start by checking in with your intuition throughout the day. Before making a decision, take a moment to quiet your mind and see what your intuition has to say. This could be for small things like what to eat for lunch, or bigger things like whether to take a new job opportunity. You can use your intuition in your relationships too. When you're talking with someone, try tuning into your intuitive feelings about what they're really saying or feeling. This can help you communicate more effectively and build deeper connections. In your work or studies, intuition can be a powerful tool. It can help you come up with creative solutions to problems or guide you towards the most important areas to focus on. Many successful people talk about following their gut feeling in business decisions. Even in your spiritual practice, intuition can play a big role. It can guide you towards the practices or teachings that resonate most with you. It can also deepen your meditation or prayer experiences by helping you tune into subtle energies or insights. Remember, integrating intuition into your life doesn't mean ignoring logic or facts. Instead, it's about finding a balance between your rational mind and your intuitive wisdom. Use both together to navigate your life more effectively. As you use your intuition more and more, you'll likely find that it becomes a natural part of how you approach life. You'll start to trust your inner guidance and feel more confident in your decisions. This can lead to a greater sense of peace and alignment in your life. We've journeyed through the world of intuitive thinking, exploring its power to transform our lives and deepen our spiritual experiences. From understanding what intuition is and why it matters, to learning practical ways to develop and use it, we've covered a lot of ground. And remember, intuitive thinking is a natural ability we all have. It's like a muscle that gets stronger the more we use it. By quieting our minds, paying attention to our inner signals, and trusting our gut feelings, we can tap into a deep well of wisdom within ourselves. As you continue to develop your intuitive thinking, be patient with yourself. Like any skill, it takes time and practice to master, but the rewards are well worth the effort. You may find yourself making better decisions, feeling more connected to yourself and others, and experiencing a deeper sense of spiritual fulfillment. Integrating intuition into your daily life can open up new possibilities and insights you might never have imagined. It can guide you towards your true path, help you navigate challenges, and bring more joy and meaning to your experiences. So take that first step. Start listening to your inner voice. Trust those gut feelings. Pay attention to those subtle nudges. Your intuition is always there, ready to guide you. As you learn to trust and follow it, you might just find that you're embarking on the most exciting and fulfilling journey of your life, the journey to your truest, most authentic self. Remember, the path to spiritual enlightenment isn't about reaching a destination. It's about the journey itself, and intuitive thinking is a powerful tool to help you along the way. So embrace your intuition, let it guide you, and watch as your world transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways.